Namaste. Welcome back to Waking Up with Mindful Serenity Yoga. And we're just going to dig right into the jar again and get another question. It's the second one I answered today because I have a fairly quiet household, which is unusual for me. And it's a wonderful opportunity to do what I love to do, and that's share my learning. Again, my learning is an accumulation of knowledge that I've gotten from many areas, and it's not something I technically own. It's just something that I had the blessing of picking up, and my real learning, of course, comes from the inside. And I'm hoping you remember that. So don't trust what I have to say unless it triggers some knowing already in you. Okay. This is a question I got, and it's kind of relevant for where I'm going to right now. How do we deal with difficult people who appear to be doing evil things? How do we deal with difficult people who appear to be doing evil things? I'm going to take a deep breath, and I'm going to exhale. I'm going to do my best to answer this within 10 minutes. I'm present without a timer, so I'm watching the time on the clock here. How do we deal with difficult people who appear to be doing evil things? I'm hearing words here that I need to kind of reiterate or discuss a little deeply. And the first one is evil, and difficult people is another term that we will have to discuss a little bit. And dealing with, what does that mean? So three things we want to get clear is dealing with, difficult people, and evil. First of all, let's look at the concept of evil. What is evil? And of course, evil is a very big term in the Bible. When we talk about certain levels of Christianity and other religious things, it's basically people who are not spiritual, people who are doing things that go against the moral construct of a society. And they have to be, if it says evil, quite extreme things we're talking about when we use the word evil. I don't believe people are evil. And I had a little discussion with one of my little students yesterday about that, who brought up something about evil. That we are not evil. Certainly some of the things we do may not be helpful or healthy or wholesome or skillful, as the Buddhists would say, and I much prefer that terminology to evil or non-evil, or good or bad, right or wrong, should be or shouldn't be. I don't like that dichotomy. So certain things are going to help us to grow while we're here, and certain things will stunt our growth and possibly affect other individuals in a negatively karmic way. So that might be how we would describe evil, for example. But again, it's a word that's pretty harsh in my ear, and I have a hard time with it because I don't believe people are evil, and I don't even believe the things they do are evil. They're either skillful, wholesome, or unskillful, excuse me, or unwholesome. So let's say someone's doing things that are unskillful, unwholesome, in the sense that they're things that are not going to help them to grow. If you keep in mind that we're all here as aspects of consciousness, here to expand that consciousness. Some would say we're souls here to evolve. I'm not too hung up on what terminology you use, but we're here to grow and learn as human beings, to be better humans, to be better beings, despite our human limitations. So some of the things will be skillful in helping us to become better humans, and some of the things will be unskillful, preventing us from being better humans. So yeah, so that we got to keep that in mind, I guess, that not everything is evil or good or bad, right or wrong, should be or should be, or evil or unevil. So it is a harsh word to begin with. So I would prefer to use the word, again, skillful or unskillful. So are the things that a person's doing helping them to become more better humans, or is it preventing them from being better human? The other concept that's in this question that kind of we need to explain is difficult people. What are difficult people? The word difficult, again, is a dichotomy. It's pointing to our dualistic thinking. People are either difficult or they're easy. Good or bad, right or wrong, should be or shouldn't be. People are just people doing what people do, right? Based on their psyches, based on their accumulation of stored events, what we call samskaras in the yogic world. They're seeing the world a certain way. They have their own perception based on what slice of life they were given to explore and experience and to accept and honor, hopefully, if they were being skillful in their approach to life. And So they have different experiences and different stored experiences within them that are coloring the way they see the world and therefore coloring the way they act, what they do consciously or unconsciously. So some people may have a lot of stored thick layer of samskara within them, and they're seeing through a very thick layer. So their behaviors are very unconscious, and they're doing things that inadvertently have a negative effect on other people, hurting them, maybe even violent, and destroying life. But they're doing so not because they are evil people, and not doing so because they are so-called difficult people. They're just people who have experience in life that or they're experiencing life through a deeper, darker layer of unconsciousness or samskaras, so their approach to life is different. Their perception of life and their approach to life may not have gained a lot of empathy for others or compassion or those types of things that help us to relate in a healthier human way. So they're not necessarily difficult people. They're just people wherever they're at, maybe that are less evolved than other people. And that's why they're doing things that hurt others without consciously being mindful about how their behaviors and choices and words are impacting those around them. Okay? And the other one I had a hard time with was dealing with. What do you mean by dealing with? How do we cope with? How do we deal with? The best way to deal with anything is by staying open and not closing to the reality that surrounds us, not closing to the truth, not closing to whatever life gives us, because whatever life gives us in the form of the people we're relating to or to the events we're encountering is there for a reason to help us to gain and expand consciously. I love the expression that Michael Singer often uses, that we're here as God's ambassadors. So God, wanting God, and God could be whatever you think of God as. I think of it as the eternal energy, omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent, omnipotent. So we're here. God is everywhere, and God is everything, and we are a part of that divineness, that energy. And in order to see everything that's going on through the human realm, every person, 8 billion of us, has our own little unique experiences that unfold in front of us, and that's the opportunity we have to experience life. So God experiences life through me, God experiences life through you, God experiences life for someone in New Zealand, someone standing on the Antarctic coast. It doesn't matter where we are, but the 8 billion of us are here to represent God and to allow God to experience life through us, or experience life, or allowing life to experience life through us. So that is why we're here. So we're all given that opportunity to experience. But we can experience it by accepting and allowing and honoring and appreciating it all. Or we can experience it by closing and resisting to it, saying, nope, don't like that, that hurts too much, don't want that in my life, no, okay, I'll take that, not that, preferring and desiring and becoming attached to those things. And of course, that is the unskillful way of approaching life. The most skillful way of approaching life, or so-called dealing with life, is by staying open and allowing all experiences to come in, whether they're painful or pleasant, and seeing the beauty in them for teaching us who we really are at the deepest level, to expand and grow. So many of us have developed these self-concepts or egos, or these little personas and these psyches, which is an accumulation of all the events we've experienced, and we're seeing the life through them. So we're focusing this amazing consciousness that we have and are a part of down on these tiny pinpoint me's with their drama, and we're failing to see everything else. And of course, me and his drama is going to be full of things that are pleasant and unpleasant. So we're closing here, opening there, closing here, opening there. Instead of just staying open to all of it, we're judging some as good or bad, right or wrong, should be or should be, instead of appreciating all of it as being wonderful tools for our learning and our growth. And so even if it's raining on our wedding day, wow, isn't this wonderful? This is what life is like to get married as a human being when it's raining out. Even if we lose someone we love, oh, isn't this wonderful? This is what grief over having the experience of love with a person is all about. Even if we lose our jobs, oh, this is what it's like to lose a job and to feel this. And so regardless of what the emotional state is or the experience is or what the other individual is doing, we are here to be able to experience it all. So when the question is asked, how do we deal with difficult people who appear to be doing evil things? It's important to remember that these difficult people are only difficult because of a judgment we've made or other people have made about them, because they are at their level of evolving. They're going through their little dramas, their little me dramas. They've developed their own self-concept of who their me is and what their psyche is because of stored events they have inside them. So they're dealing and processing with this slice of life they're given on their geographical point of the earth. Here, this is what I'm dealing with. And they're dealing with them the best way they can, probably, but hey, they haven't evolved enough, or so many things have happened, or they've developed these other self-concepts within them that stops them from expanding beyond their concept and transcending into who they really are. So they're dealing with that. So they become difficult to us only because we judge them and we're not consciously attempting to understand who they are with a certain degree of compassion, but where they are in their stage of development. We're just judging it because it affects this me that we are focusing on, this me that we're seeing ourselves at, this me that we are neglecting all who we truly are to focus on. And because it's right in front of us and we're getting pulled in, and so we see what they're doing, especially if it's directed towards us, and we judge it as evil. We judge them as difficult and the things they're doing as evil because it stirs up our own samskaras, all the stored stuff we have in us, and it's making us feel pain or discomfort or whatever. And they're not making us feel good. So we judge them as being difficult, when what they're doing has nothing to do with us, and what we're experiencing has nothing to do with them. It's just we need to clear out and purify ourselves of all these samskara layers we have, allow the pain to come up instead of judging it as good, bad, right or wrong, just saying, hey, it just is what it is, and it's beautiful in its own right because it's going to help me to grow. I will embrace this experience of pain I'm having with this difficult person. I will allow her to come up. I will allow her to blossom. I'll allow myself to feel the whole bit of emotion that comes with it. I may feel anger and pain and hate and powerlessness, or this desire to control and this desire to punish, revenge. Whatever I'm experiencing is okay. It's just part of the human drama, right? So by resisting it and pushing it back down, I'm not experiencing it, so the samskara doesn't come out of me and go. This difficult person may have triggered something I've had in me from a past experience, a sense of rejection, a sense of abandonment, a sense of being worthless. And it's not so much them that's doing it, it's whatever they've done, and my mind is picked up from them, and so I'm experiencing them as a difficult person that I have to deal with, and I'll judge what they've done as evil. When in reality, I'm just another little speck of dust here on this earth that gets the wonderful opportunity to experience a slice of life. And God experiences, or life experiences, this slice of life through me. And it's my job, and it's something I have to do, and it's wonderful to have this opportunity. But if I'm so focused on me and what's happening in me drama and what these people are doing to me that I personally judge as evil, then I'm not seeing that. I'm not doing my job, and I'm not seeing my job as valuable. I'm resisting and closing down. So resisting and closing down to the antics of what other individuals are doing because we judge it as difficult and evil, then that's a problem. That's a problem we own, not the other individuals. So how do we deal with those individuals? Well, we go inward and we start questioning why I consider those people to be difficult. Why do I consider the things they've done as evil? Why am I making those judgments? What's within me are they triggering that's in the way of me expanding and exploring life openly and freely that prevents me from being my Satchidananda self? So in a sense, difficult people are a blessing in our lives, because if they trigger the opening up of a samskara in us, this rising up of these things that we've stuffed and stored, they're doing us a favor. As long as we're not resistant to what they do, or resistant to this samskara coming up, if we allow that which was stored in pain to come up because of something we're judging they did, it's not them, they just triggered something in us, just allow it to come up, allow them to be wherever they are at in their stage of evolution without judging or blaming and naming, then we are evidently going to be free, because I'm going to get rid of the samskara there. And if I get rid of all my samskaras, what they do or don't do is not going to have any effect on me. There'd be no more of this dualistic thinking about right or wrong, good, bad, should be, shouldn't be, evil or not evil. It'd be just like, life is just life, beautiful as it is. And whatever they are at and whatever they're doing to me is not going to harm me, because who I am at the deeper level cannot be harmed. And really, there is no such thing as evil. Everything is beautiful. So they will eventually reach that state of evolution, hopefully in this lifetime or another, but I can't control that. It's the only person I can focus on if I'm sensing that there's evil things being done and difficult people doing them, is to look inside myself, to release those judgments and preferences, to release the sense of resistance I have to life and to these other people, and to stay open, learn to stay open and not close in the face of difficult people and the so-called evil things they do. And that's a practice that takes a lot of work. We start with, of course, the low-hanging fruit, those people that just kind of a little bit of annoying, those people that, to the psyche, and then we realize, hey, the psyche's the one that's judging them as annoying, so if I free myself of my psyche, then these people aren't going to be annoying anymore. They're just going to be beautiful and lovely and everything else that's positive. So the first thing we need to do is look inward when we're dealing with so-called difficult people doing so-called evil things. Question that word difficult, that word evil. Look to see that it is not them. They're not inside us. We're the only ones in here. So whatever discomfort we're feeling inside, based on what they're doing or not doing, is us and what we've stored and stuffed, and release some of that stored and stuffed samskara, so that we feel freer and lighter, and get rid of some of our preferences. When we get rid of the ego and the egoic self, there will be no more preferences and no more judging who's right and who's wrong and who's good and who's bad. Everything will be beautiful. So it starts with inside us, and so it's a journey inward, not a journey outward when it comes to dealing with difficult people who are doing so-called evil things. I'm hoping that makes sense. Thank you so much for joining me, and once again, have a wonderful day. Namaste.